Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I created this beautiful nautical nail set. So starting off with filing and buffing the nails as always, and then going in with a base coat. I'm actually almost done my base coat, which is kind of disappointing because I really like it, but I have so many others in my stash, so I'll be moving on to something new soon. The colors that I'm using for this set are this white from Vettsy, this bright red from Beetles, and then this shade called Obsidian from Glam. It's this really beautiful navy blue shade. So I start by doing 3 nails in white, and initially in my first design I had done the middle nail in black, and I do a chrome over that one, you'll see later, and I actually didn't like how it turned out, so I ended up changing it for a white one. So chrome will look different depending on the kind of background that you put it on, so make sure you experiment and see what you like. And then on the next 2 nails, the last 2 nails, I'm going to do one red and one blue, and I'm definitely going to be doing 2 coats on everything. For white, you definitely want to do 2 coats because sometimes it can be a little bit streaky and have gaps in the pigment, and it can look a little bit gray. And then you'll see here soon with the blue, it wasn't as opaque as I had expected it. Usually Glam polishes are super opaque in one stripe. It just, in one go, perfect full color, but this one was a lot thinner than I expected, so I end up having to do a couple of layers with this one. And I do use this color later in the design, and I have to build it up quite a bit, so it's just something I wasn't expecting, but that's okay. So starting with the middle nail over here, I'm going to put on a no wipe top coat, and this is going to be the base for the chrome nail that I'm going to do. And like I said, initially I did it black and didn't like how it turned out, so make sure that you put a base down that you like, because chrome will look different depending on what base it's on. Now I'm using this gold chrome from Vettsy, and I'm just applying it with my finger. As long as you cure your top coat, your no wipe top coat specifically, properly, you can apply chrome with a bunch of different tools, with a silicone applicator, with a sponge tip applicator, with your finger. And you can see just how perfectly shiny and reflective it is. And now I'm just going to put another layer of top coat over it just to seal it in, to protect the chrome while it's sitting there while I do the rest of the design. And the rest of the nails are going to get a matte top coat because I'm going to be doing nail art, and I like doing nail art on a matte surface. I think it just sticks better. So as we can see over here, I'm going to start with the chrome nail over here, and I forgot to show you the mold, the nail mold that I used for the set before starting to use it, but I really love using molds. It's actually a lot of fun. You can use them multiple times, they're washable, reusable, and all you have to do is put the gel in that you want, cure it under your light, and then pop it out, and boom, it's done. Look at that perfect, gorgeous anchor. And this anchor was actually the total inspiration for the whole design. I got it in a Vettsy mystery bag, and it completely inspired a total nautical nail set. I don't think I would have come up with a nautical nail set on my own, so this was definitely the inspiration for the set. Moving on to one of the white nails, I'm going to use the blue that I used before from Glam on it, and I'm just going to put it on a palette and use a striping brush to create some horizontal stripes. And like I said before, when I was initially applying it onto the nail, this color was not as opaque as I expected it to be, and I realized that it was going to take absolutely forever to fill in the whole thing with this tiny, thin little striping brush. So I actually just start by mapping out the shapes that I wanted and just filling it in slightly so I knew where I wanted to put the paint and how I wanted to do the stripes. And like I said, this color was not as opaque as I expected it to be. I could still see a lot of the white peeking through, and I did 3, 4, maybe even 5 layers of this gel. So I guess that's just something to be aware of, even though sometimes brands have a specific type of quality for certain things. Not everything is always going to be exactly the same. So it's good to look into the products that you're buying so that you're not surprised, like I was, and then I had to go in and do so many different layers. Not that that was a big deal or anything, it was just unexpected. But I decided it was going to take forever with that little striping brush, so I moved in with a larger brush. Over here first, I'm just cleaning up a little bit of a mess that I made. It went slightly out of the lines. It's always a good idea to have a small brush to clean up any mistakes with. And then I go in over here with a larger brush to fill in the stripes, because that striping brush was going to take absolutely forever. You can see it's pretty thin, so I went in with multiple layers. As you can see right here, I had to build up the color quite a bit. And then I went in with some gold. Gold to me just seems super nautical, like it just seems like the right accent color to use. I don't know why, it made sense to me, and I wanted to do some outlining of these stripes, so I figured striping tape would be the easiest and best option because the stripes are already there, already made. You just gotta stick them down, and that way I could make sure that all of the stripes were the same length, were the same thickness. It just made everything very cohesive and also very easy. So that's a great way to incorporate some striping tape. And then once I had all of the tape down, I just put on a layer of top coat. I'm going to do one final top coat at the end for everything, but I wanted to seal in each of my individual designs as I went so that everything stayed put. So for the next white nail over here, I wanted to do a cluster of gems and pearls. Something about nautical, and especially in this theme that I was doing, it just kind of made me think of like rich country club people who like go boating on some like gorgeous lake and wear pearls and diamonds and stuff. And I don't know why, that was just kind of like a thought that came. So I was like, let me make a little cluster of gems and pearls, kind of like a pile of treasure. And I just actually really love how it came out. I just did a giant glob of gel and stuck in a whole bunch of gems and pearls just super randomly, and I just wanted it to look like a brooch or a pile of treasure or something rich. Tell me if you have that kind of association as well with nautical things, like rich people boating in the Hamptons or something. I don't know. So I just kind of did things really randomly over here just to create something very organic looking. And then I spread out all the extra gel so it wouldn't cure too bulky. And then to stick with the stripes, because I feel like stripes are quite a nautical element, I continued by doing blue stripes over here, kind of like the ones that I did on the other nail. And again, this one took multiple layers of building up. And actually, I think I'm curing that over there for a second, just so that everything stays in place. So I did one horizontal stripe and then one long vertical stripe to kind of look like maybe the stripes on like a polo shirt or on a collar or something, kind of feeding into this theme of like rich people on the lake. I'm not really sure why that was what was going through my head while I was creating this, but it just was, and I decided to go with it. So I go in with a smaller brush over here to fill in the gaps, and then I do the gold striping tape as well to carry on the theme across all the nails, and going in with the top coat to seal everything in, just to make sure the striping tape doesn't move or peel off from the edges. And how you can see over here just how the diamonds glisten. So next, moving on to this red nail over here, I thought another element of nautical theming and boats was rope. You use rope for lots of things, to tie your anchor, to tie the sails, for a whole bunch of stuff. So I wanted to create something that looked like some rope curling around the nail. So I went in with the Vettsy potted gel that I was using before, and just creating kind of what looks like, you know, some rope or some twine or something that was just, you know, left out. And this actually took multiple layers of building up as well. This was not actually the right product to use for this. Typically for something like this, you'd want to use a much more opaque, thick gel, something like a gel paint, but I didn't have any of those, so I had to use what I had. And it actually ended up well that like ropes are not a necessarily precise thing. It didn't have to be perfect because ropes are not perfect when they're just tossed in a corner. They're just kind of like a big tangled mess. So to me, it was fine that it didn't come out completely perfect because I didn't have the perfect products, but I think it actually ended up turning out pretty well. It looks very organic, which is the look I was going for. So just a reminder that like if you don't have the perfect products for things, you can usually make stuff work. You just have to be persistent about it. And then I wanted the blue nail to look like the rope was crawling on from the red nail to the blue nail, so I just, as you saw, lined them up so I could continue the blue stripe, the blue rope from the red rope. And I didn't want the exact same design, so I just kind of, again, just visualized a rope that was just tossed into a corner or rolled up nicely, and just kind of went with that idea. And again, I had to do multiple layers for this, but a curled up rope kind of lends really well to that design, so it ended up working out really nicely. And I like how the shapes came out. I think it looks fun, it looks organic, and I think it flows very nicely. So I've been on a few boats in my lifetime, speedboats and other types of things, and I actually really love being on the water, but I know it's not something that everybody loves. People get seasick or dizzy or just don't love the ocean or the water. So let me know, do you like going on boats? Have you been on a boat? Are you one of the rich people that I was thinking about who goes boating in the Hamptons in the summertime? Let me know, I'd be so curious to hear. So here is one of those types of gel paints that I was talking about that I wish I had in white, but I didn't. But I had it in gold, and to bring in the gold element from the other nails onto this nail, I decided to do some small dashes across the rope to make it look like it was, you know, twined or braided together, because as we know, rope is just a bunch of tiny little threads all wound up together to make it super strong. So I took this tiny little brush and some gold painting gel from MEFA Glam and go in and do a whole bunch of little stripes, and that also kind of helps give the rope some sort of like movement feeling, the way the small gold stripes overlap each other and the way that it sits on the nail and stuff. It just kind of really gives it an organic flowing moment, and I think it definitely enhanced the look. So I'm really happy I went with this, and I'm happy I went with the gold. I wasn't sure if I was going to do gold or blue, but I'm happy I went with the gold in the end. I think it just ties in all of the elements really nicely. And when I'm working with tiny little elements, you can see my right pinky is resting on my left fingers, and that's something that is important to do when you're doing detailed nail art, or even if you're just doing something that your hands might be too shaky for. Always have an anchor. You can see my right pinky is like curled around my left hand, and I'm using that to like anchor, no pun intended. Okay, off topic, but you kind of like brace your hand on something, either your other hand or the table, or you put up like your hand rest or something, and that way your hand will be steadied and you can do those perfectly straight lines. Because if my pinky was not resting on my other hand, my hand was so shaky, I thought these lines were going to get everywhere. So it's always a good idea to like brace your hand on something, and it'll make everything much easier. And to finish it all off, to go in with a top coat to bring everything all to life. And the top coating is the best. I actually really liked how this set came out in matte. Well, the rope nails at least, those were in matte, and I think those ended up really cool. I could have left it like that, but I figured to keep with the cohesiveness of the look, I would go in and add some shininess to it. And you can see just how reflective this chrome is over here. It's like really reflecting off the light, and when it sits in the middle over there next to the two other nails, you can really see the nails being reflected off of it. So this chrome is actually really beautiful and really reflective, and I really love how it came out. And top coating just brings everything to life, although I did love it matte too. And here is the final set. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know if you like boats, if you've ever been on a boat, if that's something that you enjoy doing, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!